Chimney explosion kills an American in Medellin, Colombia. Another seriously burned fighting to get home. Follow along.
You're watching DC-born Rob, Erasing Borders. And now, the news.
Okay, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever it is you're located. Thanks for watching. You're watching DC-born Rob, Erasing Borders. I'm DC Rob. This is breaking news out of Medellin, Colombia as of a day or 2 days ago. So it's an ongoing story. I have 3 stories that I'm going to read on this subject right now. The second one gives more information on the first, but then the third one, there's a lesson in here because it has to do with insurance and travel insurance and not being able to get home when you need to because they don't take your insurance from America. Anyway, let's jump into the first story. Chimney explosion kills an American in Medellin. American died in a chimney explosion in Medellin from severe burns on his body. On November 2nd, a U.S. citizen died in a Medellin hospital due to a chimney explosion. The events occurred on October 27th when he was celebrating his birthday in an apartment in El Poblado. At the residence, friends of the victim prepared to light a fireplace, but it ended up exploding due to an accumulation of gases. The American Michael Eugene Clark Jr. suffered burns on 40% of his body, so he was taken to a hospital where he remained in intensive care. The male that passed away was identified as A.A. Shoyoye, 42 years old. The chimney explosion was determined by authorities to be an accident caused by the combination of breeze and gas. So there you go. Now, the next one happened to be, and shout out to Razor Rays for passing this story on to me. This one is coming from CBS News Miami. And so I'll run that video in the background as their news story runs. I'll read the story for you. So stuck in Colombia, family seeks help to fly injured loved one to South Florida. In Miami, the Florida of a man who grew up in Miami said an explosion burned more than half of his body during a vacation with friends in Medellin. Relatives of Michael Eugene Clark Jr., who now lives in Orlando, want him flown to South Florida for medical care at Jackson Memorial Hospital's burn unit. However, authorities in Colombia will not release him without payments, according to Clark Jr.'s sister. CBS News Miami emailed representatives with Hospital de San Vicente Fundación for comment. No one replied before the story's deadline. Clark's family shared photos and a video clip of the father of 2 who loved the Miami Dolphins. Loved one said Clark Jr. joined 2 friends for his alma mater, Clark Atlanta University, on a guys trip last Wednesday. The group traveled together every year, relatives said. They had been to Medellin at least twice before their last trip, according to relatives. This time, the group celebrated the 40th birthday of one of Clark Jr.'s friends, relatives said. The trip went to a friend's condo where trouble erupted Friday night. They were out on a balcony and they tried to light the gas fire pit, something like that, and somehow it exploded, Michelle Asbury, Clark Jr.'s sister, said. Asbury said one of the men died while flames burned over half of Michael's body. My heart stopped, to be honest with you, Asbury said. This is my youngest brother. We have a very close relationship, and it was just hard when you can't reach a loved one out of the country and get to them as fast as you can. Michael's wife, parents, and niece flew to be by his side. He was wrapped like a mummy, Arias Austin, Michael's niece, said. He's wrapped from head to toe because he's burned from head to toe. That first day, his head was pretty swollen. His lips were pretty big. It's something you wouldn't wish on your worst enemy. Clark Jr.'s family wants him flown to Miami where they think he will get the best care and recover best. However, he did not have travel insurance. Will have to pay the hospital San Vicente Fundación out of pocket. We were told that he wouldn't be released until those bills were paid, Asbury said. So he has medical insurance. It's just that his medical insurance does not cover him in another country. Relatives hope for the best while scrambling to find money to pay for Clark's medical flight too. So there's the lesson right there. You have to have traveler's insurance. And we've done this in a couple of videos before. And I was working on gathering up some information. I would always send you back to Medellin Guru because MedellinGuru.com has a company that they recommend. And so I without me putting too much extra, I put a lot of hours into it and I still couldn't pin it down to just 1 or 2. But you have to have it when that checkbox pops up on your flight. and it says, would you like travel insurance? Go ahead and add it. I mean, add it, even if it's, you can do it by the date range from Monday through Saturday, or you can do it for a month, or you can do it for a year. So look into this. And if anybody out there sells travel insurance, please reach out to me. Shoot me an email at dcbornrobgroup@gmail.com, dcbornrobgroup@gmail.com. I'd like to pass this information on because we've had this other conversation. Always have an extra credit card with no balance on it that you can use in case of medical emergency, because their hospitals there, they're less expensive and they're pretty advanced. Some of them are pretty advanced, but they don't let you leave with a bill. You can't pay them later. They will hold you. They will snatch your passport. You're not leaving until you pay. So they're trying to get the money from the hospital. From the family. It is what it is. So just you knowing that right now, if you didn't know that, know it now. That you can't go to the hospital and not pay them. You're not leaving, okay? Especially somebody who's in intensive care. I'm not sure about that particular hospital. Maybe somebody there can tell me, but it may be a fine hospital. It may be better than the hospital that's in Miami. I understand they want their loved one near, but keep this in mind that you have to have a credit card with you hidden somewhere with no balance on it, just in case something happens, okay, medical wise, because you will need that money. They will not let you go. Okay. And check into traveler's insurance also, because you may have insurance like I have insurance, but it's not going to help me in Medellin. Okay. If you have medical insurance, does not, I will bet you 99 to 1 that it doesn't. Is it possible? Yes. I always have to say, yeah, some things are possible, but overall it's not. So the last story is I don't know, about the same length, and it has to do with Rubio's office. Senator Rubio in Florida saw the story on CBS News and reached out to them. So let's run through this. Some of it is a bit redundant, so I may skip over it. It says Florida Senator Rubio's office intercedes on behalf of injured Florida man stuck in Colombia. Miami, U.S. Senator Marco Rubio's office jumped in to help a Florida father stuck in Colombian hospital. The family of Michael Clark Jr. said an explosion burned most of his body last week. One day after sharing his story and asking for help bringing Clark Jr. home, he needs a life support tool the hospital in Medellin Colombia does not have. Well, didn't know that. According to relatives, Rubio's staff sent the family a letter to share with and convince the Colombian hospital authorities to let Clark Jr. leave the country in an air ambulance. I cried all day when I found out he was hurt, Arias Austin, Michael's niece, said Thursday. The San Vicente Fundación Hospital would not release Clark until he paid them for treatment, Clark Jr.'s family said. We were told that he wouldn't be released until those bills were paid, Michelle Asbury, Michael's sister, said Thursday. So he has medical insurance. It's just that his medical insurance does not cover him in another country. He and two friends flew to Colombia to celebrate one of the friends' 40th birthday. Clark Jr. did not have travel insurance, his sister said. A 2022 Lending Tree survey found that nearly half of Americans believe their health insurance covers them if they get sick or hurt traveling internationally. And this is a quote, we hear a lot of stories, especially in our travel agency. Andre L. Corey, spokesperson for AAA, said, travel insurance is not only going to pay for your trip in case your trip gets canceled, but is also going to cover for medical payments. Dan Durazo, director of external communications for Alliance, agrees. His company sells travel policies, including some offered through airline ticket sites. Durazo said many medical treatment facilities abroad reject domestic health policies and sometimes hold patients' passports until someone pays the bill. Travel plans can cover 5-figure hospital bills and 6-figure evacuation fees, Durazo said. There's 2 parts to a medical emergency overseas, he said. One in which you may be in a hospital and need care, but number 2 is how you're going to get home. And we bring a lot of our customers home in air ambulances. Those are very expensive and hard to arrange. I'm going to leave it there. You get the gist of these stories. 2 Americans. Again, yes, that is the third. If you have been counting and you've been watching, it's been a news week. It's been a news week. That makes 3 Americans that have all died in Colombia in the past week on their birthdays. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I do want to address one thing. I got an email and somebody, somebody always comments, can you put up something positive? Well, I have 900 or so some odd videos on Medellin Colombia. Go back and look at those. There'll be some good in a lot of those videos. And you know what? Those don't get a lot of views. So until you go back and watch those, you really can't criticize and say I'm only putting up negative things. I'm putting up the news that have to do with tourists visiting, American and other tourists, and news for expats. They may want to know what's going on or just want to see it real easy. And the stories that are fed to me sometimes, like from Razor Rays or VJ, I get this stuff sent to me. So I need to pass it on. I feel the duty to pass this information on to you, because if you're going to travel, you need to know what's going on and you need to know how to move when you get there. And I want this to be that source. I've been working at this for 5 years. I kind of slanted more so to news, I guess, over the past year or so. But I'd like to focus knowing that guys are going to go regardless. Again, guys are going to go to Medellin, Colombia. I don't care if it's war in the streets. They're going to go. Yet somebody accused me of encouraging guys to go there. Do you think I encourage you to go? I just recognize that you're going to go. So I'm doing the best I can to help keep you safe and just help. We all have to help each other. This is a community. We are travelers. I'm not a travel brother. I'm a brother that travels, but I don't go under any of those names. I just like to travel. So we are a travel community is the way I look at it. And we have to assist each other. And this is why I say when you land, and as soon as I land in Medellin, again, if I don't need a cut, which I just got, if I don't need a cut, then yeah, I'm going over to Sweet Georgia Cafe, because that's where I'm going to meet people. I'm going to know people. I'm going to learn stuff. That is where the pulse of the city is. You want to get game real quick. You want to learn the rules and the ropes and how to move around and how to survive. You need to hear that from expats, number one. But you need to hear from frequent visitors too, who have done well in staying safe and kind of know how to maneuver themselves around. But again, everybody has different levels of safety. So where something, again, I was in my first 2 weeks, I heard gunshots. Didn't bother me. That may bother you. I mean, we heard one boom, boom outside of Sweet Georgia and Loud Ellis, and we all ran back inside. So they wasn't shooting at us, though. It was somebody tried to rob the wrong guy that had a gun. That's what happened. But so it just didn't faze me. But that may faze you. I don't know how often you hear gunfire, but, I'm from the city. You hear it. Anyway, I'll leave you at that. I'm done preaching right now, but I want to leave you with getting health insurance, number one, and making sure that you have a credit card when you go that has a zero balance. I'm passing that on today, so hopefully that's beneficial. If any of this information is beneficial, please pass it on. And no, I want to apologize right now for this week has been so busy. I mean, going to a wedding. I mean, I was at a wedding at midnight last night, and I was here in Houston this morning. I had 3.5 hours of sleep, and I made it to the game and got a cut and had lunch and got to go to my storage. So I'm still moving on 3.5 hours of sleep, but I wanted to make sure that I got this up. But bear with me when it comes to the responses to the comments. I've been priding myself for 5 years now for making sure that I responded to all of the comments. And if you don't see a response to it, it got held for whatever reason. Sometime last week they held a bunch, and then like 7 days later they dumped them on me. And after that, it was like one video had 500 and something comments. It's just me. I don't have another 4 hours, but I do go through and I look through and I scan through and I try to comment on, especially for the regulars. And guys, I appreciate you guys for your comments too, because that's where you guys help each other. Really. That's where you guys give that insight. So if I say thanks for the insight, and that's not just for me, but that's for other people too who come by and will see it. Anyway, I'm done. I know I've been going too long. For those who made it this long, let me know. You are my favorite viewers. Anyway, remember to travel, but travel safe.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
On behalf of the flight crew, thank you for flying with us and have a pleasant day.
Headed to Medellin, Colombia? See my guy Andres with Nomad Travel for safe airport pickups and drop-offs and tours. Contact information in the description below.